Hello everyone, it's Jazz here, and I thought it was time for a vinyl book mashup video. If you haven't watched one of these videos before, it's basically where I match 3 albums from my vinyl collection with books in my library based on, what I just think of when I think of the songs or whatever my weird brain comes up with. And yeah, let's just go on with it. First album that I have here today is Parallel Lines by Blondie, and I have been trying to think of a book to match up with this album since I started this segment several months back, and it always stumped me. But then today a light bulb turned on in my head and I decided to match this album up with Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. Ah, Bridget Jones, that fabulous story of that quirky little English woman. And it's basically what Pride and Prejudice would be like if it was modernized and Lizzie was a little more scatterbrained. But it's still super fun and hilarious. So this album has a lot of songs about different types of relationships and different kinds of people and lots of different sort of quirky views on feelings, and that is definitely something that it shares with this book. I just think that Bridget has such interesting thoughts about people and her own life and trying to figure out herself and things like that. So I really thought when I came up with this idea that it was a perfect match. Next album I decided to match up today because I was in a colorful mood was Dolly Parton's The Great Pretender. I have to match up this book, Dream More by Dolly Parton. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Some of you might think it's a cop-out kind of answer, but I do have another matchup other than this one. But I do really think this is just such a happy little book. This is a fun nonfiction book that was inspired by a situation where Dolly went and spoke at a college commencement sort of thing. And so she decided to kind of elaborate on some of her thoughts that she was talking about in that speech, and she wrote this little short book. It's kind of just about celebrating things that make you dream and things that might keep you inspired and things that keep her inspired. So I really love this book. It was great fun to read, and kind of like this album, it's just entertaining and fun. However, I did want to match this up with something that was of the fiction book variety as well. And because this is an album that is mostly of songs that are covers, done in a country pop, Dolly style way, it kind of made me think of retellings of other stories. So I decided to pick a book that contained fairy tale retellings and go with The Rose and the Beast, Fairy Tales Retold by Lea Black. This is just a collection of short stories that are different fairy tales retold. What I really like about this is that it does do some like lesser known fairy tales, so it's a little something different than just like the normal mainstream fairy tales, which I thought was a lot of fun, and they are really interesting renditions. I thought this was a good match. And the last album that I'm matching up today is Blue by Joni Mitchell. This is another one that I've wanted to match up for a really long time, but just couldn't think of anything just because this is a really awesome album. And I wanted to think of a book that really was awesome to match with it. And yet again, the light bulb turned on in my mind. And I decided to match it up with White Oleander by Janet Fitch, which is a story about a girl named Astrid, and her mother gets sent to prison, and she basically has to move to different foster homes. She has different experiences in those. She kind of has to do a whole exploration with self-discovery. And I think because this album is very introspective, it's very thought-provoking. It has a lot of songs that are about self-discovery and different relationships with different people and things like that. So it definitely shares themes with the White Oleander story. And also, I feel like the writing style in White Oleander is just so beautiful. It's so poetic and lovely, and I definitely think this album has all those elements because the lyrics on these songs are so poetic and lovely. So it's just a really excellent match. Also, I do think it's the type of album that the main character Astrid would really enjoy. Those were all the albums I decided to match today, and I hope you guys enjoyed the matches and will check out some of these books because I've really enjoyed them. And that is all for this week. Thank you for watching. Bye!